So over the last few days, I've had a very heightened, stressful sense of experience um, in terms of the loss of a dear friend. And in that, the stress levels ramped up to the highest. I went on an emotional roller coaster ride for me in my memory of that person in my life. And it comes at a fitting time because this is a time of focusing on stress reduction in terms of some of the things that I'm hoping to address. Quiet time is something that I've certainly had, but in terms of where I'm at right now, I'm reflecting on my life. I'm reflecting on my life of my friend. I'm reflecting on the life of me and my friend in the way that we knew each other. Mm, Socrates had this saying before he died: "An unexamined life is not worth living." And he made that statement, and it was captured by his greatest student, Plato. And unfortunately, at the end of that statement, they judged him as guilty for impiety and corrupting the youth, and then executed him. uh, I stand corrupted. I still remain corrupted. And although I'm a little bit more longer in the tooth and a lot more wise at this point in my life, stress reduction is a thing where you need to take a step back and take your subjective experience and make it objective, and then make some clear action oriented decisions uh, in terms of a direction that you want to head towards, and then with that be able to see whether some of the decisions that you're making are helpful, and be able to check to see whether they're working, right? And you can do that in many facets. Within the cognitive realm, it's probably the most popular version right now is cognitive behavioral therapy, where you look at your cognition, you look at your thought, you look at the behavior that happens, and you see if you can spot biases or misalignments of your actions with your own values, and you retool, reframe, and refocus so that you can come up with a game plan for approaching how to either feel better or to again reduce the stress, or something along those lines. A couple of years of doing that myself has made a wonderful change. In terms of emotions, some of us go through emotional rides, and right now the emotional rides are big, and some of us internalize those things. So even if you're not necessarily talking to a therapist, one of the greatest things is picking up a phone, calling a dear friend, and expressing to them things that you're feeling, expressing to your loved ones what you're feeling and what your thoughts are. And in many respects, we hold that in from a Western perspective, and as human beings, when we really should invite the vulnerability for people to help us generate new perspectives, and sometimes just to be heard. Um, from a somatic point of view, that's an easy one for me. I'm a type A, triple A active type. I like moving my fingers to play piano. I love martial arts in terms of navigating of how I move through the world, and I love physical training. And what's great about that is it releases all of these wonderful hormones after every workout. And again, stress levels come right down. So that's me addressing some of the somatic aspects of stress levels. And when I can't deal with that, others, they go to the spiritual realm, where maybe meditation, maybe secularized meditation, maybe a meditative practice of prayer, or listening to music, or finding some quiet time that's actually structured as opposed to just unstructured quiet time. Um, from a moral point of view, maybe we need to all step back and take a look at some of the things that are ramping up our stress, or our results of our stress. Some of us are buying things more, and we're buying things online, and we just got through Christmas, so we've made a heck of a lot more people happy by providing gifts for them. But in some respects, it's a very harrowing time right now. Um, and for me too, it's turning off the media, turning off the negative news, because I need to laugh once in a while, or I need to find something that I escape in for a little bit and make that moral judgment, because sometimes the news can be overbearing. And then from an interpersonal point of view, um, and I covered this in emotional, it's really important to reach out to people and approach engaging with them when you're trying to reduce stress levels from um, take on a practice of speaking to them, with them, and then when they are actually speaking to you, like really hear them. Try not to think about the next thought that you're going to say, and then confirm to them what you've heard, and have that kind of push pull dynamic in a way that you're engaging in a practiced way of engaging with someone, so that way you can have a moment of stepping back and looking at it, where it's not just a subjective experience where you're just swimming in the ocean, drowning in the wave, or on the big blue dot called human life, living. So if you can, just take some time to examine your life. Take what's subjective and make it objective, and see if you can navigate from finding the actions that you're not too pleased with and substitute in new actions, and find new ways of seeing whether those actions that are working, and then ways to check to see whether your strategies are actually working. And that only is not a huge change, actually. It's usually just a pivot of 1 degree. 1 degree pivot, and walking 100 kilometers or miles in another direction, and then you're in a totally new place. An unexamined life is a life not worth living.